let's get back into it. Donald Trump arrives in the Middle East as he faces fallout over plan to accept luxury jet. Now, I covered this yesterday. Obviously, a lot of people are very upset that Donald Trump has finally received a bribe from not Israel. Okay? Bribes from Israel, very good. Bribes from not Israel, not good. Okay?
News overnight, President Trump has arrived in Saudi Arabia, the first stop on his 4-day trip to the Middle East, as he faces fallout over the plan to accept a luxury jet from the government of Qatar and other business deals for his family. Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce is in Saudi Arabia with the president. Good morning, Mary.
George, good morning. Well, President Trump is kicking off his first major foreign trip of his second term here in Saudi Arabia, welcomed here overnight with great fanfare. But he's already facing questions about the objectives of this trip and whether his plans to accept that luxury jet from a foreign nation is safe or legal. Overnight, President Trump touching down in Saudi Arabia, escorted by military jets, a lavish welcome for his first visit to the Middle East since his re-election. The president greeted by the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, kicking off a 4-day trip that includes stops in Qatar and the UAE. It's a region increasingly vital to the Trump family's own financial interests. His sons, who now run the Trump Organization, have lucrative real estate deals in the works in all 3 countries the president is visiting, including an exclusive golf resort and villas. The Trump cryptocurrency business also recently announced a deal including a $2 billion contribution from an affiliate of the UAE. And the trip is raising eyebrows for that major gift the president is poised to accept from Qatar, a massive 7478 jumbo jet so opulently configured, it's known as a flying palace.
I think it's a great gesture from Qatar. I appreciate it very much.
The Qatari royal family planning to gift the Pentagon at an unknown date the luxurious $400 million plane to be retrofitted to serve as Air Force One for the remainder of Trump's presidency, a process that would likely carry a hefty price tag at the expense of American taxpayers.
I would never be one.
Yeah, he can't actually here's the thing. He cannot actually have a normal jet because he's the current president. So if he's going to use this jet to fly around, they have to put like another couple $100 million worth of renovations and upgrades. Because Air Force One has specific specs. So not only is this already $500 million worth, the jet in and of itself is a $500 million. With the extra specs, it's going to be $1 billion fucking dollars. Trump is going to have a $1 billion jet for his own personal use. And if you believe Trump, when he says that he is not going to use it personally once he's out of office, which, by the way, who knows if that ever happens, okay? That is a real issue here as well. That is if he actually entertains leaving office. If you think that once that takes place, he's not going to use this jet for personal use, you're silly.
To turn down that kind of an offer. I mean, I could be a stupid person and say, no, we don't want a free, very expensive airplane.
The plane would then be donated to Trump's presidential library right before he leaves office. The proposed deal, unlike any other, would almost certainly be the most expensive gift from a foreign nation to the U.S., drawing serious questions about its legality. Attorney General Pam Bondi, who used to be a lobbyist for the Qatari government, says the gift is, quote, legally permissible and not a bribe because Trump isn't giving Qatar anything in return. The president adamant when pressed by our Rachel Scott.
Respectfully, sir, though, as a businessman, some people may look at this and say, have you ever been given a gift worth millions of dollars and then not received anything else?
It's not a gift to me. It's a gift to the Department of Defense.
But Democrats and members of the president's own party aren't buying it, saying the deal would violate the Constitution's ban on gifts from foreign heads of state and raising security concerns.
Air Force One is the Oval Office, it's the press room, it's the Situation Room, all in the air. Why on earth is it a good idea from a national security perspective to let another country, let alone the emir of another country, give President Trump his next Air Force One?
He seems to intend to use it for Air Force One. Do you have security concern?
Well, they better sweep that plane from front to back.
She had no words. She was stunned. She was too stunned to speak. Within the Secret Service, the potential of gifting a plane by a foreign government for presidential use is being viewed as a security nightmare, a law enforcement source told CNN. Yeah, no shit. I think the amount of time it would take for them to actually, one, sweep the entire thing, and two, take it apart and then rebuild it to fit the specs of Air Force One for operational security would already extend beyond his fucking his presidential term. Okay. Like that I don't understand. Like when he says, oh, it's just fucking, I'm gonna give it to my foundation. I'm not gonna use it after I'm done being president. It's like, do you know how long it's gonna fucking take to rebuild that thing? It's probably easier to build Air Force One from scratch than it is to most likely tear this thing apart and rebuild it to suit the purpose of Air Force One. Air Force One, for the record, is a plane designed to withstand nuclear holocaust. A plane that can fly around permanently as long as it gets refueled. Okay? The idea that it's like a normal plane is so stupid. It has incredible amounts of securities all around it. Boeing said the new plane should be ready 2017, 2018. But of course, as you guys know, considering that, I am also funded by Qatar and the major oilers that are my most significant funders. Thank you. This broadcast is sponsored by Qatar. It's great that they are. It's great that they're also juicing the GOAT, Donald Trump. Anytime someone gives subs in this broadcast, which, by the way, you can also become a part of Qatar, the great nation of Qatar, by subscribing to the broadcast for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, where you get one free Prime subscription a month. Use it on your favorite broadcaster and become Qatari. Decoy166, thank you for the 5. Get the subs. Decoy166 from the Emirate. It is easier to repurpose the plane than build a new one from scratch, especially if it has to be a 747. Also, our Air Force One program is gutted, so it won't even happen without budget approval from the feds. I feel like a plane outside of those specs. Look, I'm not going to say anything, but I am very familiar with commercial airliners turning into being repurposed for military capabilities or vice versa. I won't speak on it too much. At least I know more about this than the average fucking person. And I know how long it would take for a plane like that is completely... I know that it would take a very long time, basically, to retool that to suit the purposes of being Air Force One. Hold on. I'm like fucking replying to journalists on here on the side.
Now, the president has a busy first day here in Saudi Arabia. He is slated to give remarks later at an investor forum with Saudi and U.S. business and tech leaders before attending a state dinner with both the king and crown prince. Robin.
All right, Mayor, thanks to you.
Places like Dubai and Abu Dhabi, Doha, Muscat, the transformations have been unbelievably remarkable. Before our eyes, a new generation of leaders is transcending the ancient conflicts of tired divisions of the past and forging a future where the Middle East is defined by commerce, not chaos, where it exports technology, not terrorism, and where people of different nations, religions, and creeds are building cities together, not bombing each other out of existence. We don't want that. And it's crucial for the wider world to note this great transformation has not come from Western interventionists or flying people in beautiful planes giving you lectures on how to live and how to govern your own affairs. No, the gleaming marvels of Riyadh and Abu Dhabi were not created by the so-called nation builders, neocons, or liberal nonprofits like those who spent trillions and trillions of dollars failing to develop Kabul, Baghdad, so many other cities. Instead, the birth of a modern Middle East has been brought by the people of the region themselves, the people that are right here, the people that have lived here all their lives, developing your own sovereign countries, pursuing your own unique visions and charting your own destinies in your own way. It's really incredible what you've done. In the end, the so-called nation builders wrecked far more nations than they built, and the interventionists were intervening in complex societies that they did not even understand themselves. They told you how to do it, but they had no idea how to do it themselves. Peace, prosperity, and progress ultimately came not from a...
Thank you, Bottom G, from the beautiful nation of Qatar, for the 10 gifted subs.
Radical rejection of your heritage, but rather from embracing your national traditions and embracing that same heritage that you love so dearly. And it's something only you could do. You achieved a modern miracle, the Arabian way. That's a good way. Today, the Gulf nations have shown this entire region a path towards safe and orderly societies with improving quality of life, flourishing economic growth, expanding personal freedoms, and increasing responsibilities on the world stage. After so many decades of conflict, finally it is within our grasp to reach the future that generations before us could only dream about, a land of peace, safety, harmony, opportunity, innovation, and achievement right here in the Middle East. So beautiful. It's such a beautiful...
JD Pondon is real? No, it's not, dude. Are you crazy? This is the grand American vision, the grand American design for the region. Okay? This is, look, I'm not a defender of the Assad regime by any metric, but due to the weakness of the Assad regime, it presented itself as a significant part of the logistical supply chain between Iran and Hezbollah in Lebanon by getting security commitments from Hezbollah in order to maintain its despotic regime. The Assad government was perfectly willing to allow Syria to be a formative part of the supply chain, right? The American government obviously did not want that because they are anti-Iran. Iran is a part of the axis of resistance. Iran is the most significant part of the axis of resistance against Israel and America's grand design in the region. All of the other Gulf states are directly aligned with America and play a formative role in this grand design. Okay? So for him to, one, claim that this is a people's revolution, not entirely removed from American involvement and American interest, is ridiculous. The Syrian civil war, especially, is one where virtually all of the belligerents, with the notable exception of Iranian-backed forces, the Russian military forces, and the Assad government itself, with those three exceptions, were directly funded either completely by the United States of America and offered training by the United States of America, like YPG, shouts out the Brace Belden, shouts out the Rojava, or funded and trained through a secondary group, Turkey, like a lot of the Salafist brigades that the Turkish government armed and trained in the region, or maybe indirectly by way of indirectly led to having some kind of power like the Al-Qaeda and ISIS affiliate groups. Okay? This is not a defense of the Assad regime at all. I'm just simply trying to offer you some context. The idea, two things can be true at once. Assad could be a despotic dictatorship that was ruthless and brutal, while simultaneously, and killing a shit ton of civilians, torturing them, imprisoning them en masse, while simultaneously the American intervention in the country was directly related to forcibly decoupling Syria from playing a role as a part of the supply chain between Iran and Lebanon. Okay? It is one of the most American-involved, American-intervened modern-day conflicts. Just look at the fucking Wikipedia page and the belligerents. And once your head stops spinning from looking at the long list of belligerents on the Syrian civil war, you will start recognizing that a bunch of these belligerents in direct conflict with one another, like the Kurdish militias and the Turkish-backed militias, were still both funded either directly or indirectly by the United States of America, either by way of NATO or through direct CIA intervention. What do you think of the reporting showing that Assad was selling out Hezbollah to Israel and helping them target Hezbollah leaders? I am not even remotely surprised by that fact. Yeah, here it is. This is great. This is here. It'll brick your fucking brain a little bit. The United States announces a $1.4 billion arms deal with the UAE ahead of Trump's visit in January. Senator Chris Van Hollen and Representative Sarah Jacobs criticized the UAE for supplying weapons to Sudan's Rapid Support Forces, CNN. This is also, yes, another important aspect of this conversation as well, is that the UAE is directly responsible for the crisis and genocide happening in Sudan by supplying weapons to Sudan's rapid forces that are starving out the population of Sudan. This is something that the American government has even recognized, as a matter of fact. Well, the previous government recognized at the very least, and yet this current government is seemingly avoiding that reality because they don't give a shit. Yes, I know the PKK laid down its arms. I will be talking about that as well. That also plays a role in what I'm talking about here. a big player in this process is Turkey. This is not like a turkeys at the table meme. I'm being very serious when I say this. Recep Tayyip Erdogan is the leader of a nation that has the second largest standing military in NATO. Okay? Recep Tayyip Erdogan and Turkey as a country has played a formative role both in the Cold War and also still plays a very important role in maintaining America's interests in the region. Do not listen to Recep Tayyip Erdogan when he talks about how much he fucking hates Satan Yahoo or whatever. That all is just chirping. That's fake. Okay? That's him presenting himself as a great liberator of the Ummah and winning favor with Muslim nations and the people of other Muslim countries. Okay? When in fact, the actual actions that the Turkish government takes in the region are directly in line with American interests. Now, there are certain instances where Turkey will play a self-interested role, but when it truly matters, the Turkish government will do NATO's bidding. After all, you must remember, Turkey is not only just a NATO nation, not only is it a NATO nation with the second largest standing military in NATO, but Turkey is a nuclear-armed NATO nation. Turkey hosts American nukes in its American military bases. Okay? And as a part of that, as you notice these webs that are tangled here, the USA and Turkey both play a role in the Syrian Democratic Forces and the Free Syrian Army, and have, not the Syrian Democratic Forces, the support for the Free Syrian Army, while simultaneously attacking the Syrian Democratic Forces, which is comprised of some of the Kurdish militias that I was talking about. There's also like the Free Syrian Army in and of itself is comprised of a bunch of different Salafist groups themselves and like radical fundamentalists. Okay? Wait, so if we go to war with Russia, Turkey gets nuked? I mean, I don't think that that's going to happen, but Syrian armed forces are made up of the Syrian Arab Army, including the Republican Guard, Syrian Arab Navy, Syrian Arab Air Force, Syrian Air Defense Force, paramilitary National Defense Forces. Before the uprising and war broke out, the Syrian armed forces were estimated 295,000 regular troops and 314,000 reservists, while the higher positions in the army were mostly occupied by Alawites. The ground troops were mostly made up of Sunnis, and once the uprisings began, the Syrian regime hesitated to employ these troops against the Sunni rebels. Therefore, the army relied on loyal elite units and Alawite militias such as the Shabiha. Due to defections following the uprising, by the end of 2013, the number of regular troops had decreased to around 110,000. Most of the divisions in the army were under strength, but Russia had been assisting in the reconstruction and re-equipment of some divisions until the fall of the Assad regime in late 2024, whereupon the Syrian Arab Armed Forces surrendered and were de facto dissolved by Syrian opposition groups. The National Defense Force, the Syrian NDF, was formed out of pro-government militias in 2013. The forces acted in an infantry role, directly fighting against rebels on the ground and running counterinsurgency operations in coordination with the army, who provided them with logistical and artillery support. Many of the fighters were trained in Iran, and they received their salaries and military equipment from the Syrian government. As of the 2024, the NDF numbered around 50,000 troops. We talked about Shabiha already. Shabiha. You got Hezbollah, also Iran-backed Shia militant group, part of the Axis of Resistance in the region. Hezbollah troops were fighting with the Syrian army against Islamic extremists and pledged that his group will not allow Syrian militants to control the areas that border Lebanon. In the televised address, he said, if Syria falls in the hands of America, Israel, and Takfiris, the people of our region will go into a dark period. He also called on Shiites and Hezbollah to protect the shrine of Sayyida Zainab. President Bashar al-Assad had denied earlier that there were foreign fighters, Arab or otherwise, fighting for the government in Syria. Hezbollah's decision to aid the Syrian government is most likely due to the fact that they enjoy the protection of the government when it comes to the group's arms procurement and storage in Syria. Okay? Shebbiha. Syria forms an important access corridor between Hezbollah and Lebanon, as I explained to you earlier. And their supporter, Iran, and the survival of a regime that was friendly to Hezbollah was in the group's best interest. 2013 and 2012, Hezbollah was active in gaining control of the territory of Homs Governorate in Syria. By May 2013, the group was publicly collaborating with the Syrian army and helping them gain control of 60% of Al-Qusayr by May 14th. In Lebanon, an increase in the funerals of Hezbollah fighters was reported. According to independent analysts, the beginning of 2014, approximately 500 Hezbollah fighters had died in the Syrian conflict. In 2014, Nasrallah claimed that the Hezbollah fighters had helped Assad take back control over the country and that the Syrian regime was no longer in danger of being toppled. After 2014, Hezbollah's involvement in Syria continued to grow, with the group playing a significant role in major military offensives such as the Battle of Aleppo and the Syrian government's recapture of eastern Ghouta. The group also became increasingly involved in securing areas near the Syrian-Lebanese border. You have Iran, you have foreign Shia militias, you have IRGC troops from Iran, and you have Russia. And then on the opposition side, against the government of Bashar al-Assad, you have the Syrian National Coalition, Syrian National Council, the interim government, Free Syrian Army, and affiliate groups. The Free Syrian Army was a group of defecting Syrian army officers encouraging others to defect, defend civilian protesters from violence by the state, and effect government change. Coming from a Syrian, please, for the love of God, don't read Wikipedia. When it comes to Syria, almost everything has a heavy bias. The Shabiha weren't inherently all Alawites. This rhetoric was used to justify saying that the blame is all the Alawites for the suffering the Syrians went through. So, here, let's listen to Jeffrey Sachs explain this real quick. It's 15 minutes long. This was in the Untitled Diplomacy Forum. And I do think that, I mean, look, I like Jeffrey Sachs, regardless of his crimes against the USSR. But I will say this. The guy he's literally talking to at the Untitled Diplomacy Forum in Turkey is literally a fucking CIA agent, okay? The guy who was interviewing him in this conversation is straight up a fucking CIA agent. So understand that while free discourse does take place from time to time, you know, there's still a decent amount of control. America's still involved, is what I mean.
Now I'm going to ask Jeff about
this guy. Is a former Al Jazeera executive who was literally outed as having direct contact with the fucking CIA. Okay? He had to resign in disgrace because he was outed as directly talking to Washington D.C. on how Al Jazeera's coverage should actually suit the purpose of the American State Department. Okay? Yes, as Gamal Abdel Nasser says, he worked for 10 years there. Think about that. I forget what his name is, but it's insane. Like, he was a fucking high-ranking executive at Al Jazeera. And WikiLeaks, I think it was WikiLeaks, if I'm not mistaken, showed that he was in direct contact with DC about what kind of coverage and how the Al Jazeera coverage should revolve around what do you call it? Here, I'll just show you. Al Jazeera. He's now the president of Al Sharq Forum, and he was the former director general of the Al Jazeera Media Network. Here's the New York Times reporting on it. After disclosures by WikiLeaks, Al Jazeera replaces his top news director. From 2011, Cairo, Al Jazeera, the pan-Arab news network financed by Qatar, named a new member of the Qatari royal family on Tuesday to replace his top news director after disclosures from group WikiLeaks indicating that the news director had modified the network's coverage of the Iraq war in response to pressure from the United States. Al Jazeera is under intense scrutiny in the Middle East over its varying coverage of the Arab Spring revolts. Although the network is nominally independent and its degree of autonomy was itself a revolution in the context of the region's state-controlled news media when it began in 1996, many people contend that its coverage of the region still reflects the views of its Qatari owners. Of course it does, especially as it pertains to the domestic coverage of things happening in Qatar. Now, of course, it's ironic for the New York Times to say that because they also present themselves as independent of American State Department, but they're not. Obviously, we know that. Anyway, until Turkey leaves NATO, everything they say that sounds anti-West is just empty words, and it is not yet a popular thing to leave NATO and Turkey, so most things will remain just as words for a while. I don't think Turkey will ever leave NATO. I don't think there is any prominent... I do not think there is a single prominent Turkish official that has any motion whatsoever that will ever advocate to leave NATO. That's crazy. Why the fuck would they do that? Erdogan loves the power that he has. Even the PKK, even the disbanding of the PKK, I clicked on the link and it was stupid of me. Anyway, even the disbanding of the PKK is a gift by the United States of America to Recep Tayyip Erdogan for literally playing a formative role in what took place in Syria. Recep Tayyip Erdogan directly shanked Russian interest in Syria. That's not true. It 100% is true. Why do you think Western leaders are not talking about the primary opposition leader, the most popular opposition leader in Turkey, being imprisoned for ridiculous reasons? And is still in fucking prison with hundreds of thousands of Turkish students and Turkish people flooding the fucking streets. And there is not a single peep from Western leadership. They love talking about how shitty Turkey is and how authoritarian Turkey is from time to time. Why are they not talking about it right now? Elon Musk banned him from Twitter. I'll tell you why. As I said back then. Okay? I'll tell you exactly why. As I said back then, it is because Recep Tayyip Erdogan played a very, very important role in toppling the Assad regime for America and Israel's purposes. And now they are going to piece Syria piece by piece, with the Northern Corridor becoming a de facto part of Turkey, or not like literally a part of Turkey, but under Turkish control. And the southern and the southwestern side of Syria being under Israeli occupation. There's also some conflict between Israel and Turkey over their interests, albeit they're both technically on the same side, the United States of America. There's some conflict between Israel and Turkey. There's a lot of back and forth that's going on, as I've covered as well. But the disbanding of the PKK was a gift to the Erdogan regime. Okay? That's it. And if you understand anything about Turkish politics and NATO involvement in Turkish politics during the Cold War and how it has been a formative part of the Erdogan coalition, the government coalition that he built, MHP, the ultra-nationalist party, is literally an invention of the CIA. It was designed to directly engage in paramilitary action in Turkey against socialist adjacent, Soviet aligned Kurdish groups and socialist groups and workers groups. They literally killed all of the Kurdish political dissidents. The MHP did. The MHP-backed Ülke Ocakları, the Grey Wolves, the ultranationalist movement in Turkey that was directly built, designed, controlled, and beefed up by the CIA, played a role in completely destroying all of the Kurdish revolutionary movements. Now, I don't want people to say that I am engaging in Turkish chauvinism here when I choose my words very carefully. I am in support of Kurdish liberation. I am in support of Kurdish people, 35 million, that don't have a homeland in the region. They are the largest ethnic group on the planet that does not have a nation state of their own. Having said that, however, it would be irresponsible for me not to mention that a lot of the Kurdish militias, including ones who my friends have actually went and fought alongside in their international call to arms in Rojava, Brace Belden, shouts out the Piss Big Granddad, okay, have been heavily involved with the United States of America. My suspicion is that the PKK also most likely was used by the United States of America to tame Turkey or to sometimes cause instability against Turkey when Erdogan or any Turkish government, as a matter of fact, would do things that was self-interested, that stepped out of line with American interests in the region. The reason why I think that this was an American gift to Turkey, so that Erdogan can present this as a major domestic W internally inside of Turkey, is because the person that actually came out and said he wanted to restart direct conversations with Abdullah Öcalan, the leader of the PKK that has been imprisoned in İmralı, right? I think İmralı, the island prison, on a life sentence. Okay. The person that demanded to start talks with him was Devlet Bahçeli. Devlet Bahçeli is the leader of the MHP, a part of the governing coalition. The MHP, as I told you, is almost entirely a fucking CIA operation. So the very fact that the ultra-nationalist party that was designed to literally murder Kurdish revolutionaries, that same party that is entirely anti-Kurd coming out with its leadership and saying we got to restart talks with Abdullah Öcalan and to get the PKK to disband, which is what happened. This is from a couple months ago, something I've followed closely and something that I've talked about a little bit on the something that I've talked about a little bit in this process. The very fact that it was an American-backed group, an American-backed political party that played this role, it would be akin to if like Itamar Ben-Gvir was fucking demanding the release of Yahya Sinwar, okay? Like that would raise alarm bells, right? Like in terms of not like making a moral equivalence between any of these groups, but it would be like some of the most ultra-nationalist elements in Israel, in Israeli society, to help you develop a better understanding of the situation, making demands to release some of the most significant Palestinian militants or to talk or to restart direct conversations with like, you know, some of the most important Palestinian militants as part of the resistance groups. So, for that reason, I think even the PKK disbandment is directed by the United States as a way to continue America's machinations in the region, as a way to isolate and starve out any sort of involvement that Iran could have in the region, because all of these countries are anti-Iran, every single one of them. Okay? Remember that. A coordinated operation letting Israel run rampant in the region, go crazy in the region, decapitate the leadership of Hezbollah with not so targeted strikes, even though Israel claims that they were targeted, and kill a shit ton of civilians in the process, in an effort to strengthen the position and the dominance of Israel in the region, and also simultaneously strengthen the position and dominance of Turkey in the region in a way to directly target Iran once they have maintained control over some of the more unstable elements like Syria. That's it. And yes, the CHP is also, wait, what? The CHP is also pro-America. The idea that, like, İmamoğlu straight up made a statement supporting the actions of AKP-MHP coalition on so-called dismantlement of the PKK. The current çözüm süreci was there for 1.5 years in the background as HDP publicly accepted it. You're straight up making things up right now? Wait, what? So why CHP and İmamoğlu support AKP-MHP coalition from first-hand, Hasan? This is not a gift from the U.S.? Wait, what? Are you fucking stupid? The CHP, the main opposition party, is also pro-America. That was my initial point. There is not a single fucking major party in this country, in Turkey right now, that isn't pro-NATO and pro-the United States of America. What? Do you unironically think the CHP is fucking anti-America? Are you stupid? No, I'm not fucking stupid. Have you read a word from İmamoğlu's statement? I don't care what any of the fucking statements are from İmamoğlu or the CHP at all. Just like I don't care about what Erdogan has to say about Netanyahu. I am saying they are pro-America, man. What the fuck are you saying? What? Okay. Then what's the point that you're trying to make? I'm confused. Ya Bahçeli'nin çağrısının Suriye'deki statükonun çöküşünden hemen önce out of nowhere geldiğini de hatırlatalım. Yeah. Devlet Bahçeli literally came out with a statement on the negotiations between him and or the current Turkish government, the Erdogan government and APO, Abdullah Öcalan, happened almost instantaneously after, yes, the status quo collapsed in Syria and HTS became the de facto leadership of Syria. When it comes to foreign policy, Turkey is always going to be in the pocket of the United States. Every now and then they'll step out of turn and every now and then they'll step out of turn. And as soon as Recep Tayyip Erdogan does some shit that steps out of turn, that is too self-interested, that goes against America's grand design, America will quickly rein him in. Okay? That's it. When and why did PKK issue an international call to arms? I mean, the inception of the PKK and its like what the movement has turned into in the process is very different. I think that initially Kurdish revolutionary groups and Kurdish militancy inside of Turkey was very much firmly committed to revolutionary principles, Maoist principles, Marxist-Leninist principles. There was different formations. And once they were almost entirely slaughtered and their leadership was destroyed, it turned into an ascetic band that would even engage in direct civilian targets and cause as much instability as possible, which was always used by the Turkish government as a way to say de facto that all Kurds that even remotely entertain speaking their own language or doing things that are Kurdish are actually PKK aligned and terrorist adjacent and should be criminally punished. All parties that have any sort of involvement with Kurdish things, all Kurdish parties that have any sort of involvement would be considered. When and why the PKK issue? No, this is not the PKK. It's YPG in Syria that issued an international call to arms, and Brace Belden took on that call. I forget exactly what year this was. Anyway, YPG is in Syria. It's a Kurdish militia. It's a Kurdish militia formation in Syria. Is it possible that PKK dissolution is a condition that Erdogan posed in exchange to let Rojava be and not try and fight them? I think Erdogan and previous Turkish governments, even before Erdogan, but certainly since Erdogan's rise to power, has always tried to be in control of the autonomous Kurdish regions rather than letting America have direct control over autonomous Kurdish movements and autonomous Kurdish regional movements in a very self-interested effort. Like, they would rather have complete control, or at least they would rather be able to enforce their interests and their desires than allow for a Kurdistan movement to exist in the region that is not dissimilar to how Israel was formed, which is of course different because Kurds are ethnically, they're not a settler colony. So obviously there's major differences there, but from the Turkish government's perspective, they don't want this to be an American-backed country. These are indigenous people, of course. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. America negotiated the integration between the SDF and the new Syrian government. They flew Muslim Abdi in a U.S. helicopter. Isn't the former PKK largely represented in YPJ? They're still defending Rojava? No. Yes. There were a lot of tensions in the aftermath of the Assad regime's fall between Kurdish militias in Rojava and the Turkish Salafist brigades and even the direct Turkish military, especially in their actions against predominantly Kurdish villages in the northern Syrian corridor. The Kurds have historically, due to their lack of having a ethnic homeland and due to having their identities be erased, as a, like I said, 35 million ethnic indigenous population that has no autonomy or no homeland, have often found themselves at the mercy of American empire and have been used consistently in the region by the United States of America as a militia group that they can just sick on other regional actors that fall out of line, only to completely drop them every single fucking time and allow the Turkish government to come in and roll over and destroy them. They have always been a proxy tool of American empire. But that's not really unique to just the Kurds, obviously. America does this. It's this modus operandi. The Turkish military and Turkish intelligence had differing takes throughout the last 60 years of Kurdish question. TSK was very much against. The Turkish military, TSK, was very much against talks and wanted a strong Syria following the Yurtta Sulh Cihanda Sulh motto. MIT, MIT, the Turkish CIA, wanted to do Turkish imperialism in the region. This sentiment was shared by Turkish capitalist class. They thought Atatürk's motto was holding Turkey back. It's insane how basically half the Turkish army occurs too. Yes, it's a little bit more complicated than as black and white as it would be, considering that and I'm not doing like it's complicated when talking about like the Israeli apartheid, because there are a lot of ethnic Kurds that speak Turkish, live in Istanbul, or other parts, and not like areas where there are large Kurdish minority populations. Anyway, I can't believe we got to this from fucking Syria, but Syria is one of the more complicated web of entanglements that the United States has designed in the region. And it's coming to its final stage with Turkey and the HTS movement, and Israel basically controlling different parts of the Syrian territory and purging its ranks from any sort of Iranian militancy and Iranian, like removing any sort of Iranian influence in the area.
But, you know, is United States of America sitting on the fence on Syria? In my understanding, they are not. Why? Because they are holding the most important card in the issue of Syria, which is sanctions. Even when the Europeans wanted to ease the sanctions, eventually the Americans are the people who are going to, you know, give the final approval or not. So they are not. They are taking position. The fact that Syria, after 4 months, is at this moment in time suffering from sanctions, and the current government, which we are demanding them to show all kinds of flexibilities, cannot provide to the people even daily food, it means we are not on the fence. What is the grand strategy of the United States of America in Syria? And how do you see the game played right now by Trump administration?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think it's important for us to understand where this entire war came from. It did not come from Bashar al-Assad. It came from Washington. There was a decision in 2011 to overthrow Assad. Actually, that came from Jerusalem. This has been a desire of the Israeli government that stretches back more than 25 years. Netanyahu's idea is make the Middle East in Israel's image.
I don't even fucking agree with this. Like, I like Jeffrey Sachs, but I think he gives too much credence to Israel and not enough to the United States of America in this grand design. Like, I don't think this is just Israel. I think this is America. Israel is simply a vehicle for American intervention in the region. He saw a lot of the inside movement. Yeah, I think Mersheimer and Jeffrey Sachs are respectable figures. But the one aspect of this, the one aspect of their commentary that I don't fully agree with is how much they heavily fucking lean into like Israel's intervention and Israel's involvement leading the way rather than vice versa. It is never, in the words of Hassan Nasrallah, it is not Israel that does this. Israel is simply a weapon that American empire wields in the region.
Overthrow every government that opposes Israel. He's had a friend in that, and that is the CIA and the United States government.
Okay, well, I think is more, if it's a chicken or the egg situation, I do think if we're talking about the dog wagging its tail, the tail is Israel. The dog is still the U.S. State Department.
So
why does AIPAC have to bribe so many politicians if they are a servant of the U.S.? What do you mean? They're still a fucking foreign nation, chatter. Look at what happened in apartheid South Africa. The apartheid South African government was also played a formative role as an ally during the Cold War against Soviet intervention in the region. Look what happened to them. Look how they fucking disbanded. Look how they were forced to dissolve their apartheid. You still need to maintain a steady flow of propaganda, NGOs, and also an incredible amount of bribery that you simply don't have to be registered as a foreign agent to do so, by the way, when you talk about, the Israeli influence, Israel's influence in American politics.
War in Syria did not come from Assad's repression. It did not come from Assad's dictatorship. This war came from a presidential order by Obama.
By the way, saying this in Turkey is so funny. Like, saying this in a fucking Turkish forum is hilarious. I think it's a good analogy of Sachs POVs that Israel's the devil on the shoulder of the U.S. with these dog shit ideas being proposed and minimizing the potential impact / blowback that will result by saying, trust us, we know the region. Fair.
To overthrow Assad, starting in the spring of 2011. We have a name for this program. It was Operation Timber Sycamore. The United States, together with other countries in this region, trained fighters, especially jihadists, including the ones that just took power, to overthrow the regime. This created chaos. 600,000 dead in Syria in a war that has gone on for 14 years. The outcome of this war is what the CIA wanted back in 2011, which is that a jihad group would take power in Syria after being armed by the United States. The reason I want to be clear about this is that we will not have peace in this region until we have public diplomacy that is based on real diplomacy, not on CIA operations. And we will not have peace until Israel stops its militarization of the entire Middle East. Because the Syrian war is just one of 6 wars that Israel has promoted, including in Lebanon, Iraq, Syria, Libya, Somalia, and Sudan. We had the list, actually, from Wesley Clark back in 2001, when he was handed a paper in the Pentagon that the goal was 7 wars in 5 years. The only war that hasn't taken place yet, to Netanyahu's great consternation, is the US war with Iran, which Israel is still trying to instigate to this very day. So the Syrian war is part of a regional tragedy. We have tragedy in Gaza, the West Bank, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Sudan, South Sudan, and Libya that I put at the hands of the United States government and its ally Israel, because none of these wars had to happen. These were all wars of choice. They were all wars that came from the idea of regime change operations, that the United States would determine which regimes operate in which countries. We'll never have peace in this region if outside...
They keep asking how old this video is. It's recent. It's like a couple months ago, or 1 month ago, April 12th. Why is he telling all this to a CIA agent? It's pretty ironic, Lamau. He's telling all of this to a guy who corresponded with Washington, D.C. in an effort to manipulate Al Jazeera's news coverage during the Iraq War in a NATO nation, Turkey, that is playing a formative role, has played a formative role in toppling the Assad regime. Why do people concede that Israel's doing atrocities but still fucking support them? What do you mean? It's the same as America. Because Israel is America. Aren't our guys in Iran already in place? Who do we want instead? No, these are not our guys in Iran in place. Are you kidding me? The Syrian foreign minister was supposed to be at the panel, but he had to leave. That would have been crazy. That would have been crazy.
Imperial powers like the United States are dictating the terms to this region. The only way to have peace in this region is if this region is determining its own future, not outside powers. And Israel could never do these wars on its own. These are American wars. America provides the financing.
Yep.
It provides the military backup. It provides the naval support. It provides the intelligence operations. It provides the munitions. Israel couldn't fight for one day without the United States backing. Israel could not be committing a genocide in Gaza without the United States' full operational complicity. I don't mean political complicity, I mean direct, daily operational complicity. This has to end. This region has been divided for 100 years, first by the British Empire and then by the American Empire. And this is going on until today. We have a genocide going on right next door. Till today, till this morning. People being wantonly killed, brazenly killed, because the United States is providing the means for this. So this is what's happening in Syria. Is the U.S. on the fence? Hardly. It's the major actor. I know, by the way, I know firsthand that in 2012, UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon appointed former Secretary General Kofi Annan as special envoy to reach a peace in Syria. I loved Kofi Annan. I love Ban Ki-moon. I worked for both of them. Kofi Annan arranged a peace in 2012. He arranged a peace in Syria. You know why it didn't happen? Because all the parties agreed to peace except one. Literally one. That was the United States of America. The United States of America said there will be no peace unless Bashar al-Assad goes the first day. The other parties said, no, you can't just determine that. Maybe there'll be a process. Maybe there'll be elections agreed. Maybe there'll be a 2-year.
I do want to maintain something here, though. Just as like the Arab Spring took place, okay? A lot of people, even leftists, even anti-imperialists, sometimes find themselves in a situation where they're engaging in like campist, simply America's wrong and all of America's enemies are right territory when they talk about the subject matter, not realizing that there is real discontent amongst the Syrian population. Okay? So this is not to say that Assad was not horrible. There are definitely a lot of people who are pro-Assad on Twitter. You see them all the time. You have people like fucking Tulsi Gabbard who are pro-Assad. I am not pro-Assad, for the record. Assad was not only incredibly weak, but also absolutely was brutal. If he was a better leader, this doesn't mean that there wasn't outside intervention, but if he was a better leader, he would have been able to manage the situation better. Okay? And this is a... Yes, Sachs is talking about a conversation that was singularly at the administrative level of these nation states and parties engaged in that conflict. Yeah. Are you okay in a war-torn region? You expect them to have freedom like normal countries? There is a level of administering normal governance that you have to maintain. And Assad went far above and fucking beyond, dude. What are you talking about? Like, it's not even, I mean, this is not a controversial position in my opinion. As far as his weakness goes, he wasn't even a reliable ally to the axis of resistance. He was simply, due to his weakness, he simply needed support from groups like Iran and by way Hezbollah to maintain control. In any case, he bears a lot of the responsibility of what has taken place in Syria due to his incompetence and sheer cruelty.
Process, a 3-year process. The United States said no. Assad must go the first day of any agreement or we block it. And so Kofi Annan stepped down from his position after having negotiated a peace arrangement. And we have had 500,000 people dead since then. We should not allow...
And for the record, for people that are saying like, oh, the Ba'athist went from being pro-Falangist and pro-US or pro-England to then pro-Palestine, they're useless. Yeah, Assad was literally fucking pro-Palestine until the Sunni population was frustrated with his, with his cruelty. And of course, Hamas, which was able to operate freely from Aleppo or from Damascus, sorry, not Aleppo. I think it was Damascus. Once they made their position known in support of the rising popular sentiment in the fucking region, they shuttered their doors. They closed their operations. They immediately, Assad was like, all right, no more of that shit. Fuck you. So just remember that. If you think that, no, the chatters that don't know what is Aleppo are joking, because famously fucking anti-war libertarian candidate Gary Johnson once was asked that question, and he responded with, what is Aleppo?
This kind of criminality to be normal. This region has been at war nonstop for 30 years. Actually, I would say for at least 57 years since the Six-Day War, because there has been no honest accounting of international law. no honest diplomacy. It's been militarization all the way through. And we could have peace immediately in this region. All that is required, in my view, is the United States change its veto of Palestine as the 194th UN member state, because on that basis, all the region would normalize relations and the wars all across this region would stop. But Israel has had control over US policy, and it says no. It wants greater Israel. It wants Israel in Syria. It wants Israel in Lebanon. It wants Israel in the West Bank. It wants Israel in East Jerusalem. It wants Israel in Gaza. And until that stops, we're not going to have peace. So is the U.S. on the fence? Of course not. It's the major protagonist of this whole war and has been for the last 14 years.
My name is Abdul Hamid Sayam. I am a journalist for Al-Quds Al-Arabi. I am a former UN staff as well. And I want to ask you, Mr. Sachs, that you just gave one explanation to what happened in Syria. It's a conspiracy theory by the US. So the millions of Syrians who went to the street calling for the downfall of Bashar al-Assad, they don't count. Those who went into the street saying Silmiya, Silmiya, those who they paid their price, Ghayath Matar and Hamza al-Khatib, and all these young Syrians shouting in the street in millions. They don't count. Yes, I agree, there was a conspiracy, but not in the beginning, after maybe, of how they diverted the Arab Spring. But the Arab people were fed up with these dictators, and they went to the street, not only in Syria, but in Tunisia, in Egypt, in Libya, everywhere in Yemen. But then the conspirators started their job then, to divert it, to end up with this kind of ruthless dictator.
I think it's pretty fucking crazy. I think truly it is pretty insane that the current Syrian president is literally a straight up, like, you know, when America say like, oh, you support jihadist groups, like that motherfucker is who you're talking about. Like a dude who beheaded people. Okay? Straight up, a dude who beheaded people is now in charge of Syria. For those of you who don't understand, there's a lot of these countries, a lot of these nation states were directly designed to have permanent ethnic tensions with a rulership class that would oftentimes be from the minority population that was Western aligned. In Syria, the Alawites were seen as that group, okay, in a country that has a majority Sunnis. But of course, when HDS came into power, now they're fucking dominating I think you're a bit too harsh on him. Dog, he is literally a ranking official of Al-Qaeda. What are you saying? I'm not being too harsh on him at all. What the fuck? And now he's small bean ISIS, who literally beheaded people, is in charge of Syria, that still has an ethnic minority of Christians and Alawites. Like, it's crazy that he just, you know, shaved a little bit and looks like Zelensky and can now release videos of him playing fucking basketball and shit. And then, you know, our assumption is supposed to be like, no, it's great. Everything is fine now. You don't know the situation, though. Everyone has a past. Brother, that is fucking crazy. And yeah, his jumper is ass. Okay? God forbid a guy has hobbies becoming Al-Qaeda leader. Now, the problem here, of course, is that not only is he former Al-Qaeda, but also beyond that, okay, he is, I'm you know, as close as you can get to being a fucking asset of the American State Department, considering what he has been saying about U.S. intervention, normalizing relations with the United States, normalizing relations with Israel, like all this shit. So he plays a role in the grand design that America has in the region.
To say, for people to say, oh, we'd have been better off under Gaddafi and under Mubarak and under. So how do you respond to that? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Abdul Hamid.
I am not discussing the agency of the Syrian people. I'm discussing the opposite. Do not be naive. Do not think that 600,000 people died because of Assad and the protesters. This was a war. Wars are expensive. They require billions of dollars. They require armaments. And I'm not talking about a conspiracy theory. I'm talking about a conspiracy. And you should know. Everybody go look up Operation Timber Sycamore. Understand what happened in your region. And if you think that calling in the CIA is going to do the bidding of agency in this region, you are sadly mistaken. This region has been manipulated by Britain, France, and the United States for 100 years since the Versailles Treaty. It will not have safety or peace until the United States is out of this region through manipulation and war. You all say, well, it's Israel doing this. It's the same thing I'm talking about. It's the same reason for Operation Timber Sycamore. It's not an independent fact. It's the reason why this happened. I'm the last to denigrate agency. I'm telling you exactly the opposite. If you think your big friend, the United States, is going to do your bidding and help you get your way, empires divide to rule. They are not doing the bidding of Turkey or Syria or Lebanon or anybody else in this region. And if this is, yes, you want to balance Persia or Iran, you call in the United States to do that, and you think this is going to work out well? It's not going to work out well. This region has three major powers: the Arab world, the Turkish world, and the Persian world. It's been more than 1,000 years this way. I said to Iranian diplomats that Iran has been 5,000 years. I was corrected, 7,000 years. It's a long story. You don't need the United States to pull the chestnuts out of the fire. And don't believe that this happened because of agency of the Syrian people. I'm sorry, I'm not denigrating the Syrian people, just the opposite. I know what happened. I know what my country does. I suspect most of you
were Turks in Anatolia for over 1,000 years, chat? Yes. Pretty much. Like, not before them, but yes.
You do too. And it should not be ignored, because the wars are going to continue until we have real agency, not pseudo-agency. And by the way, there is no international community. We're trying to make one, but it doesn't exist right now. That's the tragedy in this world.
No, I'm not talking about like the memes about fucking Turkish people being indigenous, like Native Americans or Turks or whatever. I'm talking like actually recognized historical fact of Turkic nomadic tribes coming to Anatolia, moving all the way from the Asian steppe. That part is real. God, I've memed too much about pan-Turonic sentiment that chatters instantly assume I'm memeing again when I say something that is historically correct. I've flown too fucking close to the sun.
There is no community. There are interests. There are militaries. There are regime change operations. This is not community. We need real community. And by the way, I give every day my volunteer time to the UN for 25 years because I believe in it. It's my life commitment. So I believe in community. I also happen to know that the United States blocked the agreement in 2012. I'm sorry, I won't elaborate. But the United States blocked it, and I know it.
Well, I know it too, Joe.
I know,
okay.
But I know it from Kofi, sorry.
Perfect, I too.
I'm happy to see sanctions on Syria lifted so the country can finally breathe after years of suffocation in service of regime change. But let's not ignore the hypocrisy. Many of those cheering today's sanctions relief were once the loudest voices demanding Syria be strangled into submission. They starved millions, not because of human rights abuses, but because Syria's last dictator refused many of their demands. The new Syrian dictator is no humanitarian. He's former Al-Qaeda and ISIS commander whose forces have been committing sectarian atrocities for months with total impunity. These same voices now justify today's massacres while whitewashing their past crimes. They terrorize civilians with economic warfare and then crown themselves saviors once the damage was done. Watch closely. Their compasses pointed towards power and rapacious imperialism, not justice. This is what Jelani had to do. Yeah. Trump Tower in Damascus, demilitarized zone by Golan, meaning Israel keeps Golan Heights, obviously, enters the Abraham Accords, minerals, oil, and gas deals. The two might meet in Saudi Arabia. Golan Heights concession would be unprecedented for Syria, a territory that Israel occupied in 1967 and then 1973, then annexed. And Trump actually recognized the legal annexation, made it legal. That annexation became permanent, Golan Heights. Other details not surprising, including the admin split, Gabbard Gorka versus Witkoff, potentially Rubio here too. Meeting in Saudi Arabia would be first since 1990s between U.S. and Syrian presidents. Irony here, if above happens, is Sharas' former jihadist Namde Gur is Golani, a descendant of Golan Heights. Remember when I mentioned that? And then like Boner Box made fun of me and was like, this guy is so stupid. Why is he saying that? Because I guess he didn't know. I mean, I didn't know either, to be fair. Anyway. Do you know how a sniping job works? I know. Oh my God. Why is everybody saying, I'd do that? What the fuck does that mean? I don't want to know. I don't want to know what, I'd do that means. Loner cucked by Epstein. Do not look at it. Random aside, but how does Vic Mensa know who you are? Talks about Hamas terror supporter. Talks about Syria. Are you talking shit about a terrorist? I mean, yeah. Notice how, what is this? I do that. Where will you come in my fantasy? You pill. Oh, dude. What the fuck is this? How is there like like sex shit for all of these dudes. I mean, I told you guys I didn't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I'm looking away. I'm looking away. Ew. Ew. It's a fan as well. Oh, it double ew. That was an H3 fan? It took a jet from Qatar to get Chuck Schumer to do something decent for once. Senator Schumer says he's placing a hold on all of President Trump's DOJ nominees in response to the deeply troubling plan for the administration to accept. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is what fucking caused them to act. I'm sorry, dude. This is like, dude. That's what finally caused them to fucking react to the Trump administration. Incredible. Fucking incredible. Yeah, all the money in the world from pro-Israel groups and not a peep. The one time he gets money, the one time he gets direct bribes, when he gets direct bribes from Saudi Arabia, not a fucking peep. He gets a direct bribe from someone who is neutral to Hamas and neutral to the Palestinians. Immediately, they're like, whoa, what the fuck is this? I'm sorry, dude. We got fucking the administration blackbagging civilians, okay, and dumping them into CCOT. And this dumb fuck hasn't said a goddamn word about it. As a matter of fact, he'll be like, oh, I actually like the way that Trump is dealing with anti-Semitism. I just don't like if he's going too far or not. Like, he needs to do things by the book. But the one time, dude, come on. The one fucking time Trump does something that Israel doesn't like and Chuck Schumer all of a sudden finds his fucking ball sack. Sorry, dude. I said this yesterday. People can get mad at me all day, every fucking day for saying this, but it is 100% something that I firmly believe. You can literally identify a person who is directly in the pocket of Israel by who is defending John Fetterman's mental decline right now. They just literally light up. Like, Israel will just make the boss call and be like, hey, it's time to defend our ogre. And Chuck Schumer absolutely is one of those people, okay? Anyone defending John Fetterman's mental decline or claiming they're writing hit pieces on him should have to register as a foreign agent. Tom Cotton, register as a foreign agent. Chuck Schumer, register as a foreign agent. Richie Torres, register as a foreign agent. I'm hitting you all with FARA violations. Every single fucking person that in the aftermath of John Fetterman's mental decline came out to defend him is absolutely doing so at the behest of Israel. That's literally, that's it. It's crazy. Yeah, here's what Chuck Schumer had to fucking say. Schumer, after Trump disappears people, detaining lawyers, Twitch streamers, destroys the government's ability to test how much shit is in a river. Listen, sit back and observe. Not everything needs a reaction. Schumer, after Trump gets shiny plane from the Orient. Finally. I'm sorry, dude. The whole, like, here's the thing, okay? Is the Qatari plane a straightforward quid pro quo absolute fucking bribe? Yes. Okay? 100%. It is a 100% bribe. It is cartoonish. Exactly. This chatter is right. Is a cartoonish fucking bribe. Okay? That's true. Like, the idea that it is not a bribe is silly. I don't think anybody disputes that. I certainly don't. But remember who gets mad at what kind of bribe. Israel has targeted Qatar as their main enemy in the fucking region now. And because of that reason, despite Qatar having the largest U.S. military base in the fucking region, okay, due to their neutrality to the fucking Palestinian plight, not like outward support, mind you, simple neutrality, playing the role of power brokers in the region, and also all of the soft power that they've garnered out of Al Jazeera, their signature media company that plays a huge role. This is very important for Gulf states, okay? Getting positive coverage from Western states is incredibly important for Gulf states, okay? That's why they engage in sports washing. That's precisely what Saudi Arabia is doing right now with like Neom and fucking, I don't know, buying Mr. Beast or whatever, okay? And for Qatar, they have been able to present themselves as they've been able to basically present themselves as a your sports washing take is dumb. What? America is global cultural hegemon. What are you? No, that's not a dumb take. This is an academic take. The fuck? That's precisely what Saudi Arabia's goals are. What are you talking about? Like what? You think they organically love esports and golf? Is that what happened? Formula One? This isn't soft power for Saudi Arabia? They do this with airlines. They do this with big brands that they buy out. And they do this by purchasing teams, purchasing fucking entire leagues and bringing them to Saudi Arabia. Okay? They did this with WWE as well. And with Live Golf. The reason why they do that, Saudi Arabia wants tourism. It's a huge neoliberal take to say it's sports washing. Wait, what? No. They want tourism, and they also want to... Chatter. I think I know more than you. I'm sorry to say this, okay? They 100% want to engage in repairing the way that people see Saudi Arabia in the rest of the world. With the decline of oil revenues, tourism is a major industry. Oh my fucking God, dude. With the decline of oil revenues, you know what's a major industry? All of the fucking all the Saudi investment funds diversifying its portfolio. They have an endless amount of money and hedge funds that they can use to diversify their revenue streams. And they are doing that. It's ridiculous to think that it's just because of tourism. No, they 100% are engaging in sports washing. Just like for Qatar, Al Jazeera has played a major role in doing marketing for Qatar. Okay? So, and also that's why they fund me, the Qatari government, to do defense of to do defense of their passport stealing practices and the horrific labor conditions that exist in the country. To act like that's not real. That's why they give me money. Anyway. Unfaithful to Pakistan, shaking my head. I would never. My life for Pakistan. So, can't believe I'm fucking sports washing. I am Saudi and that chatter is right. Come on, brother. When the fuck did this happen? I thought this was like well established. Sports washing was like a well established concept. How the fuck did we... there's like actual PR on this initiative now? What's happening? Like people are just like, nah, that's not true. It's just like an organic... I mean, if that chatter is Saudi, I get why he would say that. But it's crazy to me that there is like other chatters who are disparaging the concept. The Saudis have made a concerted effort in the streaming space. That's true. They did do that. Clearly, it's been fucking working. I don't think it's just because I'm saying it. Anyway, let's
Beautiful
watch.
thing that's happening. I guess, the people that are here can't even really appreciate it because you see it happening, and it's when you come to a place that you haven't seen in 5 years or 10 years or 20 years that it's even more incredible.
Yes, it's a Saudi talking point. The prince said it in a defense. Saudis are just regular people. Are they not allowed to like sports? Brother, where did I imply that the Saudis don't organically like Cristiano Ronaldo? Like, that's fucking stupid. Of course they do. Like, yes, there is an organic interest in these things, okay? But the reason why the kingdom is doing this shit is specifically so that, Westerners who previously were like, oh, Saudi, aren't those like the guys that ride camels and do fucking Allahu Akbar shit? Or the more educated Western liberals and leftists who look at what the Saudi government has done in the region and go, that's insane. Or 9/11, who could forget? It's a deliberate attempt to make people forget about that shit and be like, no, Saudi is the land of opportunity. Jamal Khashoggi was a bad guy. Who cares? Don't worry about that.
When I left office just over 4 years ago, that future seemed almost impossible, what you've done. Together we had obliterated the killers of ISIS. We wiped them out, terminated its founder and leader, al-Baghdadi. We had healed the divide in the Gulf Cooperation Council. It's a very big deal. And united the nations of the region to stand against the enemies of all civilization. We'd imposed unprecedented sanctions on Iran and starved the regime.
I'll never forget, in the beginning of my career, when I was at the Young Turks, and I first got a manager, the Saudi Tourism Board actually offered me a influencer trip to Saudi Arabia. And I don't recall exactly how much they were offering, but I recall it was a big fucking bag. And goddamn, that big fucking bag would have helped out. This is like in, I don't know, I think it was like 2015, 2016. Sports watching is hella ignorant, bro. Do you think France hosted the Olympics to distract from their colonies? Wait. I mean, kind of, yeah. Yeah. No, actually, yeah. Yeah, why the fuck do you think people don't think about France and its colonies? It's because of all the fucking media and arts contributions that it makes on the global stage. So, yeah. Like, what do you think this is? Yeah, chatter be like, oh, excuse me, why would, what do you think, the Nazis were trying to fucking launder their reputation? Is that what you're trying to say? With the Berlin Olympics? Excuse me. What's next, dude? You explained this exact thing 2 years ago?
Business. You coming to Saudi Arabia with me?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so should I not go? Because chat's saying that it's this massive, horrible, terrible.
It is. Your chat is correct.
Is it actually that bad? Like if I
Yes,
like
Saudi Arabia, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is currently engaging in a genocide in Yemen. They've been bombing Yemen endlessly. There is a artificially man-made famine happening in Yemen as a consequence of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's actions in Yemen.
Okay, wait. What does that mean? What does a man-made? Is it like the cold? Like what the hell does that mean?
Like they are literally bombing Yemen so relentlessly that kids in Yemen do not have access to food.
Yeah, but what
they're also stopping humanitarian help from going into Yemen.
Okay. So Saudi Arabia is not a good place. Let's just cut to the chase.
No. And that is before you talk about like domestic laws in Saudi Arabia that still punish homosexuality.
So this charity
Saudi Arabia is what America wishes it was if Republicans had like full control. So Saudi Arabia is basically like America in like the next 20 years.
I don't know what to say, dude. Like what is going on? I thought it was a sponsorship. I guess I'm not going.
I've been reached out by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia before. They've offered, like, the tourism board offered me a sponsorship through my manager, like, many years ago when I was at the Young Turks.
How is there still beheading and shit? Why isn't the United States military get involved?
Because they have oil, baby. Saudi Arabia is one of the most important countries in terms of oil production. They are a part of OPEC, and that is what.
So America is also the problem.
Yeah, of course, America is always the problem. America is part of the reason. America and the British government were part of the reason why Saudi Arabia is as reactionary as it is. Once Saudi Arabia found that beautiful fucking black diamond coming out of every orifice, America and Britland were immediately involved in their affairs and built their infrastructure and basically planted the family in a position of power and greatly boosted their influence in the Middle East in general. They did this all for oil. Yes.
And then so this charity is the Saudi Arabian government.
I would assume. Yeah, I mean it probably is. They do a lot of PR. They do a lot of PR to greatly whitewash their crimes, both their domestic crimes against like their own citizens. They also will like sometimes execute Shia Saudis overseas. That's another thing. They famously also killed Jamal Khashoggi, who was an American Saudi Washington Post journalist. They chopped him up in a fucking embassy in Istanbul. Donald Trump famously said,
when?
"Oh, this was under Trump administration a couple years back." They did 9/11. Before I forget, of course. If I'm going to go through their greatest hits, I would say 9/11 is up there. They famously threatened the Canadian government.
Okay, wait. I thought that was Osama bin Laden. Wasn't he in Iraq?
What country do you think Osama bin Laden hails from?
I thought Iraq.
No. Iraq had nothing to do with 9/11. That wasn't even a lie that the American government told. The American government at least told the lie that like Afghanistan was involved in 9/11, which they weren't. But Iraq had nothing to do with 9/11. We just wanted to invade Iraq for oil and control over their natural resources. We lied and said there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. That was a different lie that the American government told. The Saudi kingdom, there are family members of the Saudi kingdom that played a role in funding the 9/11 attackers.
So what you're trying to say is I can't go to this fucking tour.
I mean, look, do you?
No.
Do you? But I would not do it. But yeah, for the record, this is what the Saudi government does regularly. They still do slavery as well, but so does America, if we're being fair. So, I mean, there is that. America does a lot of the shit that Saudi Arabia does too, but dude, sometimes I watch old clips of myself and I'm like, damn, I'm that bitch. And then sometimes I watch old clips of myself and I think, how the fuck are there like actual slop tubers out here who question my fucking integrity and my knowledge over the events that have unfolded in the region? It's so frustrating. It's like it does stem from like most people's understanding of all of this being like misgifts. So they're very easily duped by a couple fucking clips out of context and a great deal of Islamophobia packaged to it. But it's crazy that like people don't, It's crazy that people don't investigate at all. Like, they have no interest in investigating this on their own to be like, I wonder if Hasan knows what the fuck he's talking about, or if his entire perspective on this complex geopolitical issue can be easily understood by 30 seconds of a clip.
Ultimately,
Ultimately,
get out of here too.
What?
We should just go to Canada.
What do you mean? What did you say?
Well, if America's just as bad and America's bad, if Saudi Arabia's bad, then we should just go to Canada.
Well, wait till you find out what the similar crimes that Canada has also engaged in. Whether it be the residential schools or whether it be the wholesale genocide of the indigenous population. One time, though, famously, the Canadian government, because they sometimes want to come across like more progressive, right? They'll say something like I think they criticized Saudi Arabia for Yemen once, and Saudi Arabia, an official Saudi government Twitter account, literally said, "We will 9/11 you. Watch your fucking mouth." That's real. Here, I'll show you.
You have to show that.
The Saudi government's like tourism board account literally fucking said,
I'm a monster. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to everyone. My head hurts. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Show me this tweet.
This was what the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's like a nonprofit account linked to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. He who interferes with what doesn't concern him finds what doesn't please him, sticking one's nose where it doesn't belong. And this is an Air Canada plane heading towards the CN Tower. Like, they basically were like, we did 9/11 and we'll do it to you too, motherfucker. You better shut your goddamn mouth, Canada.
I just wanted to drop tilted towers with Tfue. All right. I've made my decision.
Let's hear it.
Just out of curiosity, if I were to go, what would you think of me?
I mean, I would think of you as I think of you already, that you don't give a fuck about certain things and that you are you're gonna do whatever floats your boat and lines your pockets.
Well, or
all of that was pulled off Top Dome. Anyway, you used to go ham. What do you mean? Nothing has changed. No, he didn't go. Yeah, once again, repeating the point. Anyone defending John Fetterman's mental decline or claiming that the writing hit pieces on him should have to register as a foreign agent is the easiest way to identify an agent of Israel. And Chuck Schumer fucking fits the bill perfectly. Okay? Sorry. He also defended John Fetterman, said he's fantastic.
Millions of people in this country are struggling to live paycheck to paycheck. Can't afford housing, can't afford groceries, can't afford to pay their utility bills, can't afford child care, can't afford insurance. And Donald Trump is publicly defending, accepting a $400 million flying palace from a close ally of Iran and Hamas?
Bro, I fucking hate this goddamn party. God, I hate this fucking party. Oh my God, dude. Oh my God. Dude, are you fucking serious? Qatar is a fucking agent of Hamas and Iran? That's what we're saying now? Dude, what the fuck, dude? What are you saying? Shut the fuck up, dumbass. Again, another agent of Israel. 100%, dude. What the fuck? Bro, why is Hakeem Jeffries talking like fucking Bezalel Smotrich, dude? Why is he talking like this? Like, he's talking like a reactionary Israeli member of the Knesset, being like, everyone is Hamas. This is Qatar is agent of Hamas and Iran. It must go. Qatar must go. Someday the Democrats will finally outflank the Republicans and convincing America that they are the best party to destroy the Middle East. I believe in you, Hakeem. Like, this is an unprecedented time for the Democrats to really fucking hold on to the anti-war position that the overwhelming majority of Americans respond positively to. And these fucking morons are literally banging the war drums at a time when Donald Trump's in the fucking Middle East and trying to put W's on the board to make himself look like he's the great peacekeeper. What the fuck are we doing? This is a position for no one. God damn it, I hate this fucking party, man. I hate it. The country he's talking about has the fucking largest U.S. military base. The country he is saying is an agent of Hamas and Iran has the largest U.S. military base in the region. What are you saying? Qatar is basically a fucking holdover state, half owned by America and half owned by Turkey, okay? These are the two countries that have the most control over Qatar. What the fuck? And by turn, the Qatar owns London, ironically enough. A real weird situation. The notion that they are pro-Iranian is so fucking stupid. No one likes Iran. Muslims, dude, there is a saying in this region, okay, where Palestinians will say, if Israel, instead of being Jewish, was actually a Shia nation, the entire Gulf region would have collapsed upon it by now. They would have liberated Palestine by now, okay? The notion that these regional leaders, not like the population, because the population doesn't have that much smoke. They don't give a fuck. Like the Shia Sunni designation is like not that consequential unless there's like sectarian fighting taking place. But like the regional actors, like the people that run these fucking countries, okay, they have way more fucking smoke for the Shias than they do for Israel. Okay? Oh.
I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
That misgive clip is crazy because that's the last time a content creator listened to you when it comes to global politics. I mean, that's not really saying much. Let's be real. Like, I don't think content creators are listening to anyone when it comes to global politics anymore, or at least the ones that do listen to me are very quiet about their support out of fear that they will get fucking destroyed. Like, what do you think fucking... You think people are getting their notes from Asmongold? We don't like Iran, dude, not because they're Shia, but because they're a nation state that is trying to import its revolution to the rest of the Middle East. Yes, I know. I think one of the biggest L's for Iran has been its unimaginably unpopular mullah regime that they have. Like, they're so fucking fundamentalist, and their people despise them. Like, there is certainly there's still defense of the administration there for sure, but like, it's just so fucking bad. They should have moderated like 30 fucking years ago. It's just, that's it. It's so ridiculous. This guy said, every time you open your mouth, where to go? Or did you guys already fucking clip? Did you already clap them? I wanted to see what brilliant take he had. Academic take. You can't open your mouth without becoming a terrorist simp. You can tell, you know, you're dumb and you're angry about it. There's deep self-loathing. You don't have to ban that guy. That guy's thinking that he's doing like deep analysis. Anyway, I fucking hate the Democrats, man.
Which is why even some of his closest MAGA sycophants have made clear this is a plane too far for them. Too far for them.
Do you not agree, though, from a political perspective, Trump taking the bribe is bad optics and should be called out? I think what the Democrats choose to fucking attack forcefully says a lot about what they care about. I'm sorry, dude. Trump is getting fucking bribery from every angle, okay? From every fucking angle. At this point, it's my least, like, it's the least of my fucking concerns. Especially because none of these dipshits ever talk about how much money he's getting from fucking Israel, okay? The problem is, this leads me to believe that the Democrats actually like what Trump is doing in terms of blackbacking political dissidents and fucking denaturalizing, or not denaturalizing, but like trying to deport fucking student protests for speaking out against Israel, or the deportation scheme across the board for like random people that have no crimes, that have done no crimes, that should be naturalized into citizenship in this country, but instead are being sent to a fucking slave labor camp in El Salvador. How the fuck do you not say anything about that? And this is the one time you're chirping because Israel got mad that Qatar, a nation that is at least neutral, not like pro-Palestinian or definitely not pro-Iran. What the fuck is that about? Holy shit, you have to be a fucking real dumbass to say stuff like that. But a nation that is like at least neutral, agnostic to the Palestinian position, gave a fucking straightforward bribe to the Trump administration so that they literally don't get fucking cut out. When the last time they refused to give a fucking bribe to the Trump administration, they almost got nuked out of orbit, okay? That's it. Trump won. Every single one of these Gulf powers were like, build Trump towers in our nation, sir. We love you. We will give you $7 billion for your fucking dumbass, Jared Kushner's dumbass apartment complex in fucking New York City. Who cares? We'll give you whatever bribes you want. The one country that was like, I don't know about that was Qatar. You know what they almost allowed to happen? They almost allowed to fucking chop Qatar off, okay? Just excise it from the region. Directed by the UAE and Saudi Arabia. They literally are looking at each other like fucking vultures out there. So, of course, this time around, Qatar's like, yeah, of course we'll fucking bribe you. What do you mean? The fuck are you guys talking about? They straight up were going to fucking, they were just going to cut it out. cut her off with like, yes, a comically large Looney Tunes ass saw, okay? That's not even a joke. It was because people had to intervene. Like the State Department had to intervene in this because the Trump administration was so actively using the executive office for an endless amount of fucking bribes for Jared Kushner and his fucking dumbass family that like it was unstoppable. It was unbelievable. So the one fucking country that was like, yeah, I don't know about that, was almost cut off and turned into a fucking island by Saudi Arabia. What the fuck? So yeah, this time they're like, okay, of course we'll fucking glaze you, sir. We have quintillions of dollars. Yeah, we'll give you a fucking $400 million. Who gives a shit? Okay. This is what Jeffrey Sachs means when they say Israel decides they own American politicians individually, keeping them so comfortable they genuinely don't care about anything else. It's fucking mind-boggling to me. It is actually insane to me that these motherfuckers have the audacity to be like, I can't believe Trump is getting bribery from Qatar. Dude, where are you for Saudi Arabia? Where are you for the UAE? Where are you for Israel? Oh, of course, you're not going to say anything about Israel because you're getting bribed by Israel too. What the fuck? Yeah, I know. It's fucking transparent graft, chatters. Okay, this is not a defense of what Qatar is doing. I'm not defending that at all. Who gives a fuck? That's my position. I say, who gives a fuck? The one time Qatar decides, all right, fuck it, we'll bribe you too. In the process of Trump getting bribed by Saudi Arabia and every other fucking country in the region. What do you think he's doing right now in the Middle East? What do you think he's doing right now in the fucking Middle East? He's getting bribes from every country that he's visiting. That's the whole purpose. But they don't talk about any of that shit because those guys are already a part of the Abraham Accords. They don't play a neutral role for some kind of like managed negotiation. They're not, more importantly, they are not considered as of now the enemy of Israel. Okay? That's it. Once Israel brands them the enemy, every single one of these fucking animals will start talking about whatever country Israel has branded the enemy next time. Okay? Israel's going to come out and be like, the orb is actually Hamas. And then Trump is going to be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I touched the orb. Or Hakeem Jeffries is going to come out and be like, Donald Trump touched the orb. The orb was Hamas. Donald Trump is now Hamas, magically by the power of the orb. Fuck. This is some ugly 40-year-old man with piss stains covered in shit, just sitting in his computer using the saddest NPC talking points. I tell you to get better, but it won't. You hate the Dems. You should vote for more people like Ilhan Omar. Those are your people, terrorist simps. Saudi doesn't want terror-supporting country on their border who give massive amounts of money to Hamas. I love, dude, I do actually love, I'm glad that we didn't ban this guy because he's like Islamophobic as shit. Okay. While simultaneously, he's like fucking pro Saudi Arabia. Like, what happens to the minds of Americans where they can't even be Islamophobic consistently? Where it's just like, this is the same fucking dichotomy that exists for people that are like, Hasan, you love terrorism. Also, HDS is reformed. He was beheading people in a past life. You can look past that. Okay. Like, they literally turn it on. As soon as the State Department goes, this is a good guy, they go, this is a good guy. It's fucking awesome. That is incredible. Like, I can't believe it. I don't understand how you can be like Ilhan Omar, who is an American representative. She's a fucking terrorist, but Saudi Arabia is an ally in your estimation. Even after doing 9/11. How the fuck do you arrive at this position? It's so goddamn inconsistent. Not liking Hamas is different from being a terrorist supporter. Dude, you don't like Hamas, but you like Saudi Arabia. How does this happen? This is what I don't understand. And also, the reason why I said you're fucking Islamophobic is because you said Ilhan Omar, terrorist simps. You're saying Ilhan Omar is a fucking terrorist simp. My people. Emirati poet coinciding with the imminent excavation of Salva Island. Lamau, the old making Qatar an island meme from Arabic Twitter, worth noting the relationship now is much better than during the blockade. Holy fuck. What? Not liking Hamas is different from being a terrorist supporter who hates Israel? Wait, what? I don't, it is confusing to me. It is genuinely confusing to me how you can be like pro Saudi Arabia and then like say Ilhan Omar is a terrorist. like how does that work? It's not even like consistent Islamophobia. If you're going to be fucking Islamophobic, you should be Islamophobic towards Saudi Arabia too. You're being Islamophobic across the board, right? Like that's my expectation. But these guys are tactically Islamophobic against America's enemies and super pro-Islam. All of a sudden, they're like, I'm a committed member of the Ummah, actually, as a matter of fact, when it comes to fucking talking about America's allies and Israel's allies in the region. How does this happen? You can find a way to call someone racist. You called Ethan racist when he said the Arabs when asked why 1 million Jews left neighboring countries. Bro, answer my question. How do you arrive at this position where you're like Ilhan Omar is a terrorist, but Saudi Arabia is your ally? Like, how does that happen? Oh, how? Like, how does that work? I don't get it. It's because they think Saudis are white. No one thinks that. Look at what Jelani was saying in 2015 about the Gulf, including Saudi. Back in 2015, Jelani accused Arab rulers of paying jizya to America.
نملك أكبر طاقات بشرية ونملك أهم الممرات المائية ونملك أهم
And we possess the most important natural resources.
الباطنية من المعادن وكذا والطبيعية وما إلى ذلك ونملك سلات غذائية كبيرة جدا والمشكلة أن هذه الأشياء بسبب حاكم يريد أن يستولي على عرشه وعلى كرسيه سخر كل هذه الموارد لخدمة هذا الكرسي فأصبح يدفعون الجزية لأمريكا هؤلاء الحكام يدفعون الجزية لأمريكا حتى تبقيهم نعم حكام العرب
يدفعون جزية لأمريكا
يدفعون جزية نعم لماذا كل هذا البترول والنفط الذي يذهب إلى أمريكا ماذا مع
Yeah, he was like I'm going to do that. Actually, that's the method. He's just saying that they're paying jizya to America, like a tax to the. You are ridiculous. Saudi's close to recognizing Israel's right to exist. Hamas and people who support Hamas, like Omar, don't recognize the right to Israel to exist. This is very basic stuff, buddy. Yes, dude. You are a fucking Israel dick rider. Okay, you are the actual terrorist. I understand that your entire fucking understanding of the region revolves around whether someone is nice to your fucking apartheid state that's currently doing a genocide or not. But I don't give a shit about that because you're a fucking morally bankrupt piece of shit. I know. I understand that. I already arrived at that conclusion from the way that you were actually covering this. It's pretty easy. Saudi is close to recognizing Israel's right to exist. So therefore, they're good. Hamas and people who support Hamas, like Omar, don't recognize the right of Israel to exist. Israel does not have a right to exist. No nation has a right to exist. Nobody fucking says apartheid South Africa has a right to exist or Nazi Germany has a right to exist. What the fuck is this beautiful position that we've arrived at with respect to just Israel alone? Israel and Israel alone. The only thing we care about is Israel's own interest in the region. We will like every one of Israel's allies and we will hate every one of Israel's enemies. Who the fuck are you? Please tell me you're at least fucking Israeli. Oh my God. Oh my God, please. Because if you are not, I'm going to fucking lose my mind. Jesus Christ. Like, dude, so one note. He's just like, I make my assessment off of Israel. Does this make Israel feel good? Then I like it. Does this make Israel feel bad? Then I don't like it. Who are you? Hakeem Jeffries? That was the entire point of my argument here. What the fuck? These guys never get together and chirp until it pisses off Israel. What the fuck is going on with the Democratic Party? We have a straight up fascist fucking administration in power, and they're undermining American civil liberties, what remains of them. They're undermining the fucking courts. They're literally arresting mayors. They are arresting judges. They are talking about denying habeas corpus, and these dumb fucks are talking about whoever the flavor of the month is for Israel that they want to get mad at. What the fuck? Go live there then. Why do you live here? Why are you supposed to represent my interests? Go live in fucking Israel. God damn it. Holy shit. This pisses me off so much. Go get spit on by fucking settlers of the West Bank for being Christian. Fuck. Oh my God. It's so fucking lame, dude. It's so annoying. Thank you, Taylor Heaps, for saying this person added Taylor Heaps, who said a very nice thing at like 12:03. I don't know why. Where's that fucking Gart dipshit or whatever his name is, who was like, I like Saudi Arabia because they're close to recognizing Israel? What's he saying now? Arabs live in Israel. Israel was there thousands of years before the Muslim faith, and you and your supporters can't erase history. Instead, you attack a piece of land the size of Connecticut surrounded by 15 Muslim countries. Oh my God. I don't care about the fucking tiny Saudi help in America defense law. What has Hamas ever done except rape, kill, and torture? Dude, you got to update the Hasbara, man. You really do. You really have to. Oh, look at tiny Israel. Okay. I guess they get to do a genocide then. Like, my bad. I didn't realize that if you are lower, if you are tinier than a certain country's size, then you can do as much genocide as you want to the indigenous population. Israel was there thousands of years before. Yeah, you know who Israel's currently genociding? Their fucking own ancestors that didn't leave, dumbass. That's who they're fucking genociding, okay? Shut the fuck up. The ones that didn't leave that also become Arabized and went by way of the Christian faith or Islam. Also, the idea that like Hamas only rapes, kills, and tortures is so funny when you're talking about Israel. Like, in defense of Israel. Why are you bringing up shit that Israel does 1,000,000 times more than Hamas ever has done? If I have a toddler strapped to my body and run at you with a gun, you will shoot me, and it wouldn't be your fault for killing the child? First of all, that's fucking insane. What are you saying? What the fuck are you saying? Israel's a belligerent occupier of the Gaza Strip. The toddlers are not strapped to the fucking Hamas militants, dude. Shut the fuck up. That has never happened. That's only happened in your fucking delusions. It's not a good analog at all. God damn. This is why, dude, I'm gonna be honest with you. This is why you are losing, okay? This is why you are fucking losing. Israel drops knock bombs on Hamas, holds children hostage. That's not even true. Israel hasn't done any fucking knock bombs anyway since like October of 10th, 2023. That's number one. Number two, okay, I'm going to fucking drop an artillery shell on your roof before I fucking nuke it out of orbit. Are you going to be happy with that? No, of course not. Now you lost your fucking house. Shut the fuck up. You absolute psycho. This is why, because of the endless bloodlust that is demonstrated by those who want to defend Israel all over the place, people fucking hate your country, okay? This is why. If you're wondering why people hate fucking Israel so much, this is it. You've completely dropped the ball on trying to massage the narrative, trying to make it seem as though you are a reasonable country, okay? This is it. This is fucking it. It's over. It's so over. This is why there will forever be reports of Israeli tourists going to other places, and when they're not in the process of fucking yelling at someone, going, no politic here, Israel number one, okay? You got like people that fucking own hotels and shit going, oh, are you Israeli? Have you done any war crimes? If you have, then sorry, we will not allow you to fucking stay here. And then you go back home. This is why when the Israeli occupying force wants to put out a fucking Mother's Day post, they have to blur the faces of the fucking war criminals. Because guess what? People are fucking keeping track of all of the fucking awful shit that Israel is doing. And you're cooking the tiny marginal anti-Zionist Jews living in Israel as well in the process. God damn, dude. Yeah, no more Hasbara. You could just keep saying, no, we must kill baby here. We must kill baby. Imagine you rape, kill, and torture. It's like, bro, we fucking see what is going on. We see what is going on. You are a fucking Nazi. You are a Nazi, and a really fucking annoying Nazi on top of that. Holy shit. Nazis are fucking annoying, but oh my God, dude. Like, I don't know what I would do if I was around during the fucking Holocaust and the Nazis were constantly trying to defend their position. I would probably lose my fucking mind. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like dealing with people who are trying to defend this shit. It's like, I see it. I see it every day. What are you trying to defend? Everyone sees it. the fucking celebration that the world will have once justice is fucking served and Israel is forced to dismantle its terrorist apparatus and atone for its endless war crimes. Oh my God. Oh my fucking God. There are people out there refusing to commit suicide so they can outlive the state of Israel one day. And you're over here still trying to defend why we have to kill babies. What the fuck? It's done. It's done. It's over. Yeah. Norway's latest trade union adopts BDS policy, a stain on a nation's values, from Jerusalem Post. Every single day, Israel does not fucking scale back its bloodlust, does not even entertain the notion of stopping its genocide. And every single day, there's another 10,000 to 100,000 people that say, I'm out. I'm done. Fuck this country. Okay? Fuck this country. What a stain. Causing irreversible reputational damage. If you don't care about the fucking humanity of the Palestinians you're ethnically cleansing, okay, then maybe from a self-interested position, you should care about the reputational damage of the pariah state that you currently are desperately trying to defend. It's over. It's fucking done. It's done. You can try to whip up support by the grossest fascist machinery of American empire to try to make it so that it's illegal to fucking hurt the feelings of the great state of Israel. But you can't deny the truth. People still see the reality. People still recognize that there's a fucking genocide going on. People still recognize how untenable of a position Israel is in. What are you going to do? You're going to fucking arrest every single person until they say 10 Am Israel Chais every morning? It's not going to fucking happen. The other side of this is that it fucking leads into all of the most annoying and dangerous fucking anti-Semitic conspiracies, and it leads fascists to present themselves as moral arbiters in this process. Fucking straight up Nazis, anti-Jewish Nazis run around and go, see, we told you so, over and over again. And a lot of you are completely oblivious, by the way, to how much that neo-Nazi anti-Semitic sentiment has calcified amongst like the next generation. Okay? It's so cooked. It's so insanely fucking cooked. It feels impossible. It feels impossible to actually contend with. It feels impossible to deal with. I spent my entire professional career combating anti-Semitism. Are you denying that Israel controls America? Israel doesn't control dick, okay? Shut the fuck up. Israel doesn't control America. America lets Israel behave in this manner. Israel is America's attack dog, okay? In an effort to maintain this relationship and become irreplaceable in the minds of the American State Department, though, because of its grand designs for the goddamn region, Israel has become an irreplaceable force due to its endless amounts of propaganda, the endless amount of money they spend on doing propaganda, the endless lobbying efforts, the endless NGOs and advocacy groups that they have created after recognizing the fucking failures of apartheid South Africa. Because no matter how valuable of an ally you are, you have to still maintain a steady flow of funds to make sure that you have commerce going back and forth, that you are an irreplaceable force that makes boycotting and divestment and sanctions virtually impossible. And if that's not enough, you can then use that lobbying arm, AIPAC, to make it literally fucking illegal to do BDS in a country that has supposedly a First Amendment protection to be able to do those sorts of things. Is that not control? It's not. And the reason why it's not is because if you think Israel's the only fucking country that has this opportunity that tries to constantly fucking massage public discourse about Israel or about their own nation, other countries do that shit too. The only reason why Israel gets to do it is because of the formative role that it played as a bulwark against any sort of pan-Arabic nationalist movement that could have existed in the fucking region and Soviet allegiances that might have come out of that during the fucking Cold War. Okay? Israel does not control the country. Israel has tremendous influence over power players in this country because it's become an irreplaceable force. The reality of the matter is, Israel can never control this country. You want to know why? Because tomorrow, whether because they are deeply anti-Semitic, which is the more likely outcome of this dangerous song and dance, or because someone is a committed anti-Zionist, they could just literally make one phone call and sever Israel's ties with the United States of America. They could make Israel do whatever the fuck we want, okay? The idea that Israel actually controls this nation state is a neo-Nazi sentiment born out of endless amounts of copium that wants to abdicate responsibility away from American empire. It's fucking foolish. That's why it's a right-wing sentiment. It's one of the easiest markers of identifying someone who's a dumb fucking right-winger because they think America is a beautiful nation that has only existed as a force of good, but it's simply manipulated by dangerous Israel to do these evil things. That is not the fucking case. Israel only does things that America allows it to do. Well, how the fuck do we still make this argument when America, under the Biden administration and under the Trump administration as well, has been ethnically cleansing the fucking Palestinian population in Gaza? You think like they could have just dialed that back a little bit, you know? Nope. Endless genocide. Go ahead, Israel. They did it with our weapons. They did it with our money. They did it with our political coverage.